New week, pretty important week in my opinion, because we're into like a do or die scenario. We're coming into a do or die scenario. Higher time frame wise, um, as you can see, we have held this low, right? We have held this low for now, at least. 109, 108, 109 area will be our do or die level. If we manage to reject here, I think we're going for the lows once again, and we're finally taking out this low. If we manage to flip here and start grinding higher, I think we're good for at least 120k, right? Take out some liquidity above here. So yeah, looking at the weekly, that was a pretty good weekly close. But what do we know? We know that weeks tend to be filled, right? So if we get the rejection into 109k, 108k, it will be a pretty good setup to play, right, with a weak fill, having in mind the weak fill. So jumping into lower time frame, in the 1 hour time frame, for sure this is not a good bottom, right? This is not a good bottom, but if you remember, we did have these kind of bottoms before plenty of times, as you can see here, right? So yeah, this is what fucks around with people. Going into even lower time frame, we actually did the low holding bottom, which is one of the accumulation setups I'm playing around, right? So what happens here, we have two scenarios after a nuke. We either form some sort of range, sweep lows, and then reverse, right? Or we start holding lows, baiting lows basically, right? Sweeping internal liquidity and start grinding higher and higher and eventually reverse the whole thing. So this is exactly what happened here. We go on even lower time frame. We did have, let me bring up POIs, let's hide these. This was like a 5-day composite that was formed. So we did have internal liquidity here resting. We came into the internal liquidity with POI here. We eventually held the lows, right? This was a pretty cool setup. I posted about it as well. I'm holding some longs from here on the reclaim here, around 100.5 is my entry. I wanted to add into a retest of this area, but we front run on Sunday, right? So yeah. Now, what do we have now in terms of price action? Actually, before we jump into price action, let's go into VWAPs. Starting off with a yearly. On the yearly VWAP, pretty solid bounce of yearly VWAP, as we mentioned past week. For sure, as you can see on the daily, we didn't get a daily close below here, so it's still holding, right? But again, if we don't manage to flip 108, 109k, I do think we're going lower. Now, the bull scenario, the most bullish scenario would be like a slow grind above 108, 109k, and eventually a slow grind above 113, 114k as well, right? So, going into the quarterly VWAP, not much to mention here, only that we're trading below. Actually, let me bring up standard deviation 2 bands. So this was a pretty cool setup on the quarterly value as well. Overextended, held lows, we're trading back into standard deviation 1 band, right? Now, good POI here. Again, it's aligning with our higher time frame analysis. So 108, 109k still remains our do or die level. If we spend some more time here, eventually we'll have quarterly VWAP coming down a bit lower. So that will be aligning with a retest this area 108, 109K, along with a retest of quarterly VWAP, right? Developing quarterly VWAP. So this would be a pretty good short. The most bullish scenario would be, of course, slow grind above 108, 109K, and eventually a reclaim of 111K. 111K, I think we're pushing back to 120. 120K, you got some pretty cool highs here to take out. So yeah, these two scenarios for now on the quarterly. On the monthly, again, as you can see here, our 108, 109K level is aligning with previous month value area low. So coming into this area, we do have previous month value area low, higher time frame wise, a good POI to reject from, or a good level to reclaim and eventually target higher. Right. So two scenarios here. First of all, I don't think we're getting a rejection here. Obviously we can, but we need to see some more price development. I think we're tapping 109K at least for now. If we get a rejection into this level and failure to accept above, it's a big short for me. It's a big short for me because we do have some equal lows here resting. We're rejecting previous month value area low. We're rejecting also potentially previous quarter, not previous quarter, sorry, quarterly VWAP. So yeah, it's a pretty fucking good level to take a short from, or a pretty good level if we manage to reclaim it, slow grind above here to take a long, because we do have a pretty solid range here resting from 109K to 114K and eventually 120K, right? So reclaim above 109, 108K, slow grind here will be our most bullish scenario, or some sort of break above, spend time and space here above this level, retest, and eventually push higher, right? So these are the three scenarios I'm looking at. One bearish, two bullish. Actually, one bullish, one bearish. So yeah. In terms of lower time frame, we do have previous week value sitting at 105.3 till 100.8, right? So if we do have a pretty strong trend here, which for now on lower time frame it's not looking like it, we need to be holding above previous week value high, right? So if we hold above 105.3 and we get, I'm looking for a play today or tomorrow, max tomorrow, something like this. Sweep into previous week value area high. We also have a good POI here resting in terms of price action. Reclaim above, start trading higher towards 109K. If we get a breakdown below, we are rotational within previous week value, I don't see a reason why we should be holding previous week VWAP. And I think, yeah, we're getting a rotation towards these lows, basically, right? So that's pretty much it in terms of previous week value. So yeah, let me take a look also. I haven't opened up my extra charts. So before we open up extra charts, let's bring up everything into our chart here. So let me mark out previous week value. Previous week value area high. Previous week value area low. Let's open up XtraCharts. So in terms of TPO, we did have a pretty cool um, 5-day value, 5-day composite, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days actually. So let me merge these. Okay, it doesn't change a lot. So a 6-day composite, right? Where we eventually into the open accepted above and pushed higher, right? Now if here we do have some inefficiencies resting as well, some poor highs, and an NPOC, right? Now if we come into these poor highs, take out these poor highs and reject into 109k, where we have also an inefficiency, this is like a huge gap for me, a huge signal print, right? If we do reject here, I think a move down to 103, 104k is in play, and eventually we're playing rotations here if we get acceptance above or if we get a breakdown below, right? So not much to mention in terms of daily value, daily TPO. Let's go into the weekly. Let me change the split by week. Okay, so into the weekly. Actually I do have the weekly into my chart to not waste time. Composites. So let me hide this. So what do we have here in terms of weekly composites? So we do have a prior 7-week value sitting at 103 till 109. Okay, so this area right here will be our do or die in terms of rotations within this value, right? Again, 109k is a huge level because we do have the 7-week value high as well, and if we get rejection here, we're rotational within value. Now the 3-week value that we have formed, I will skip it because we do have other levels to keep in mind. So 103, 104k will be our level to hold. 109k will be our level to flip in order to be bullish, or reject from in order to be rotational within this value, right? Now if we accept above 109k, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't go towards these highs, 116k, 120k, with a slow grind here, of course, full rotations. Yeah, I do see that we have a POI here as well, but again, we're having in mind our higher time frame picture. We do bounce from the daily, the yearly VWAP, sorry. So I don't see a reason why we shouldn't be going higher. What about the 3-week composite value? We do have other levels, more important levels. So yeah, I'm skipping this one. I will explain potentially tomorrow. I'll do a stream tomorrow as well. Just not waste time into the outlook. Okay, so okay, we don't need all these levels here. What do we need? We need previous week value. We do need previous month value as well, and we do need, I think this is enough for now. These are our important levels for this week. So let me bring up previous week. This is invalid. This is invalid. This is invalid. Okay. So let me hide some levels. Actually, we do need this level, so let's keep them here. So the levels that have the most importance for now for me are in terms of lower time frame, previous week by area high, previous week by area high, and previous week by area low, right? And eventually 7 week by area low. Acceptance below here, and we're getting a rotation towards the lows. Cool lows sitting down here, equal lows. Early in the week, if we do get some sort of bounce of here, acceptance back above, we do get a push higher towards 109k. This level will be huge going forward. Acceptance above, and we're getting a rotation higher towards 114k, 114, 115k, right? Rejection here, and I do think we're going lower, right? At least until 103, 104k, which is 7 week value low, because we're rejecting in 7 week value high, and eventually we're getting a rotational play into this range, right? So let me mark out this one as well. So these four scenarios for now, for this week, that's what I'm looking at. Not much else to mention. Simple rotations, right? 109k will be our do or die level going forward, both higher time frame and lower time frame, and we'll see how it will develop. All right, let me end the recording and jump into questions.